Okay, let me ask you something. What if the biggest mistake you make every single day is just trusting your own eyes? Seriously, what if this solid world all around us isn't actually reality at all, but more like a user interface that's designed to hide it? Well, today, we are going to peel back that screen.
So, to dive into this, we have to start with the work of cognitive scientist Dr. Donald Hoffman. His interface theory of perception is really the scientific bedrock for everything we're about to get into. See, he argues that evolution didn't shape our senses to show us objective truth. Nope. Instead, it gave us a super simplified user interface, like the icons on your computer desktop, built for just one thing, keeping us alive.
Now, this quote, this is where it gets wild. It completely flips our whole understanding of the universe on its head. What Hoffman's research is suggesting is that it's not you living inside some big, pre-existing universe. It's actually the other way around. Space-time itself, it's more like a virtual reality headset that your consciousness is projecting, literally creating it on the fly as you need it.
Okay, to really get a handle on this, we need two key terms. First, you have acidic, which is the apparition. Think of this as the physical interface we see, the icon on the screen. It's the peel of the fruit. Then you have all-haq, which is the truth. This is the hidden essence, the code running underneath, the actual juice inside the fruit. And here's the problem. The core issue of our time. We've been trained to eat the peel and throw the juice away.
So what happens when we do that? When we mistake the peel for the juice? Well, let's look at a perfect case study. We're going to take one of the most famous stories ever told and see how reading the interface literally leads to a catastrophic misunderstanding of the actual message.
Right, the story of Noah. We all think we know it, don't we? The massive wooden ship, a flood that covers the entire planet, and pairs of every single animal being saved from drowning. This version is the ultimate example of focusing on the apparition, on the acidic. It is 100% the story of the peel.
But get this. According to the organic Quranic methodology, which is the source material for this explainer, the original text, it never says any of that. I mean, not a single verse mentions physical animals being loaded on a ship. There's no talk of a planetary water flood. And the actual word for a physical ship, safina, it's not even used in Noah's story at all.
So what's going on? Well, the key is the word that's actually used in the text, folk. And folk doesn't mean a physical boat. It refers to orbits, or a trajectory, specifically the trajectory of supplication. It was a cognitive methodology that Noah was teaching to elevate his people's thinking. He wasn't building a wooden vessel. He was building a curriculum for the mind.
And this just reframes the entire story, doesn't it? The so-called flood, the tufan, it wasn't water. See, in this divine lexicon, water is a symbol for divine guidance. So the tufan was actually an overwhelming deluge of knowledge. The believers, they were carried safely on this wave of new understanding. But the rejectors, they were literally drowned in their own confusion.
Okay, so if reality is an interface, it's got to have some kind of operating system, right? A physics engine running in the background. So let's dive into the first part of that engine, the part that governs the most powerful force you possess, your intention. And this brings us to a really cool framework called the Absolute Divine Governance Equation, or ADG for short. You can really think of it as a physics engine for your life's path. What it does is take this vague, fuzzy feeling of intention and turns it into a strict, measurable mathematical vector. It shows that your life isn't just a series of random events, it's a trajectory.
So in this model, your consciousness is represented as a cognitive vector. Now think about launching a rocket to the moon. If you're off by just a tiny fraction of a degree at launch, that tiny error compounds and you miss your target by millions of miles. It's the exact same thing with your intention. A tiny deviation, seeking the peel of worldly validation instead of the juice of truth, compounds over a lifetime into a massive error.
Which, of course, brings us to the big question, free will. If our life is this vector, this trajectory, how much control do we really have? Well, here's the twist. It turns out our power isn't in controlling the events that happen to us. It's in controlling how we perceive them. And this is where the theory of quantum governance, or TQG-CFE, comes into play. Basically, it says your reality is a custom-built incubator, a simulation designed specifically to test your cognitive development. Look at the equation. Your experienced reality is just the absolute quantum truth passed through your own personal cognitive filter. You're literally rendering your own world.
Think about what this means. Two people can go through the exact same event, but because their internal rendering engines are different, they experience two completely different realities. If you're using what's called a Faro filter, your mind renders a world of scarcity, fear, and threats. But if you've upgraded to a Prophet filter, that same raw data renders a world of abundance, opportunity, and divine signs.
And this is where your free will actually lives. It's not about trying to control the raw quantum events. You can't do that. Your free will is the sovereign choice to upgrade your filter. You have the absolute power to change your own personal rendering engine. And when you do that, you change the entire movie that's playing in your head.
So, okay, if life is a game, if it's this customized simulation that we're rendering, what's the objective? How do you win? Well, I can tell you one thing for sure. It's not what materialism and our consumer culture have been telling us.
The answer comes from one final equation in this governance physics framework. It defines the true goal of the game, and it's so elegant. E equals U times D squared.
And this is the ultimate paradigm shift. U stands for utility. That's all the temporary physical stuff. Money, resources, status, power. It's the peel. The objective of the game is not to just collect as much U as you can. No. The real goal is to use that U as fuel to generate E, which stands for permanent essence. And the conversion engine? That's D squared. Discipline and ethics. We are here to convert temporary utility into eternal value.
You see, when you finally get that we're living inside an interface, you escape the trap. It gives you your real power back. Not the power to control what happens, but the much greater power to choose how you see it. So the only real question left is, what reality are you choosing to render?